And welcome back to Blow Up the Team. I'm Matt, and once again we're doing baseball preseason grades. Today we have the world champion Washington Nationals to talk about. Uh, Anything you want to say about them old Nationals, Jeremy? No? All right. Captive audience. Wow, he's just not.
Oh, my microphone just yeah,
Oh,
didn't
good.
didn't care to unmute itself. I'm not sure why. I always go on mute when you start, so you don't just hear background noise the whole time. And then it just decided it didn't want to unmute itself.
Nice.
Anyways, they kind of came out the woodworks to win it all last year, Nat.
Yeah, they're 19-31 after the first 50 games.
They came out the
Like,
woodworks. They said, "Hold up, season ain't over yet. What you talk about?"
yeah, then they stormed back. They were like the best win record of baseball for multiple months. For basically the rest of the season
It
because
felt
that's what
like
they
they
needed to
flew
do to
under the
get to the.
radar the whole way, though. Like I swear, I remember the World Series starting, and it was like, Astros are gonna win it, like the whole time.
I don't know because that's just it. Like no one like so okay. So I guess this is where we just start talking about the 2019 Nationals. 2019 Nationals started off abysmally. They had a crushing off season. Well, not entirely crushing. You got Patrick Corbin on a 6-year deal, and he performed for you last year in the regular season. Um, he had a good season, game 7 of the World Series, but his starts in the postseason were pretty ass. But that's beside the point. Um, it started off horribly. The bullpen ERA was like the worst in the major leagues. Like that includes the Baltimore Orioles, who gave up home runs at a historic pace. It was all horrible. It and their bullpen blew game after game after game after game. And I think their bullpen ERA after they ended 50 games is like nearly 6. And like that's really bad when they're only throwing a couple of innings. So things were looking really scary. But a few things happened for them. First of all, bullpen. They got Daniel Hudson, who was beginning his, what ended up being his career year, from the Blue Jays. They got um, Fernando Rodney, who got dropped from the A's and who had a horrible time. Ended up actually throwing some pretty decent, not like amazing out of the bullpen, but was actually fairly decent for them. Um, and the rest of the bullpen started to come together and stop blowing everything. Sean Doolittle started looking at himself again, and Wander Suero stopped giving up home runs, and so basically the bullpen, though it wasn't lockdown, improved itself enough that it allowed the lineup and it basically did what it was supposed to do, which is allow the lineup and rotation to carry you. And you had huge offensive seasons from Juan Soto and from Anthony Rendon, and a pretty good rookie season from Victor Robles, and a great season from Howie Kendrick, and a great season from Trey Turner. And that was the other thing, is Trey Turner also got injured very early in the season in April and missed a month of play time. So you had a lot of problems like that, and ended up working out, obviously. And so things started to come together. Max Scherzer was really, for a while there, he was better than DeGrom was for a couple weeks, and then DeGrommed it, so worked out pretty well. But and then Steven Strasburg continued to have his best season to date, and Patrick Corbin threw 200 innings and was excellent. So they had a lot of things go right for them, and they steamrolled the league. Also, just a quick ridiculous stat from Max Scherzer: last 5 seasons, ERA under 3. Like, holy shit. Anyway, so you were able to sweep yourself into a postseason spot, and things looked grim. You were down to the Milwaukee Brewers very early, and then they came rip roaring back. And obviously, there was that big. The Brewers had a pretty bad error in the outfield, but regardless, Juan Soto tied that game either way. Um, so you came back and you fought, and everyone's like, okay, nice, like that was a really great game. Now let's go on to the Dodgers, and the Dodgers will be a shoe-in 3-0 at worst 3-1 because they'll have to play on the road. And the Nationals fought back, and in Game 5 of the NLDS, which we've talked about when we talked about the Dodgers, um, back-to-back home runs off of Clayton Kershaw to tie the game, and then all of a sudden Howie Kendrick, veteran Howie Kendrick, who's always been pretty great player when he's healthy, and a pretty consistently good player at veteran at the major league level, comes up, hits a go ahead grand slam in the top of the 10th, and beyond that, like Howie Kendrick was money in the postseason. Honestly, I think like he was also a contender for World Series MVP that he played, but and so things worked together there. NLCS comes along. Cardinals just had a very convincing time beating the Braves, who were almost everyone's postseason prediction, including mine, was the Dodgers Braves NLCS, and they struck against the Cardinals and had a pretty easy time putting them away. And the World Series was as bloody as any baseball fan wants it to be. It was 7 games, and it was the most bizarre World Series because neither home team won a game at home, and that's just like that just doesn't happen. Like I was like so stoked. It's like the Nats are actually up 2-0, and then the Astros came back 3-2. I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch. I watched, and I was very glad I did because it was amazing. And then a Howie Kendrick home run, banging off the foul pole to put them up ahead and send the Nationals their World Series. Even though there was more scoring after that, yeah, that they never lost the lead after that. So he hit the biggest one of the biggest home runs you could ever see. It wasn't a walk off, but go ahead home run in Game 7 of the World Series. They did it. So anyway, that's enough talking about 2019 because you can't, even though it was rough at times, you can't complain about a team that won the Well, you can't complain about a 2019 season which saw you win the World Series. So going into the off season, you re-signed Steven Strasburg to a nice fat contract, which he deserved. Yeah, it will be a very good one. He had his best season to date last year. He struck out 251 in 209 innings, and he pitched 209 innings. Yeah, made 33 starts, and so he's really developed himself into one of the best starting pitchers in the league. Though his velocity continues to tick down, it doesn't really matter when you have a curveball and a changeup like him. He has decent velocity, but his biggest weapons are his breaking balls. They are just knee bucklers. Um, and so you got to re-sign him, and that's pretty huge for you. You lost Anthony Rendon to the Angels. Yeah, they offered Rendon a contract. Rendon took the guaranteed, write up money. The Nationals had to offer a lot of deferred money to both him and Strasburg in order to try and keep them both. But overall, I can't fault either side. It's not a bad situation for the Nationals because they lost him. It's not a bad situation it's a bad situation for Rendon because the Angels are just incompetent and they can only spend money on hitters. But it was smart for him to get the money, and it was smart for Strasburg to stay. And so, it opens up the Nationals for when, Juan Soto and Trey Turner need bigger contracts. They have money for them now. But all right, I'm already talking too much about things that are not this lineup. So this lineup overall is looking a little weaker from last year because they're missing the huge battle Anthony Rendon. Like the guy placed third or fourth in MVP. I think it was third in MVP voting. So it was a pretty impressive season from him last year. So leading off, you got Victor Robles. Victor Robles had a really rough time in the postseason, but for the regular season, it was his first, real full big league season. Played 155 games, only a 255 batting average, but pretty decent, power and really, really great. Not decent power, kind of whatever power and really good speed and fielding. Um, hopefully now that he's got that big league time under his belt, he can show what he showed in his 2017 and 2018 stints, which were significantly better contact numbers. Um, the guy has a lot of potential, and I think, he maybe this is like a struggle first season, struggle less second season type guy. So hopefully it's on the up and up for him. Next up, you got Adam Eaton, veteran outfielder. He is pretty solid. Not, he's very much definition of those definition rock solid players. They're not going to light up any offensive categories, but they're not bad. They're very good. And he's been up for a number of years now for a reason. Not too crazy. He also had his first fully healthy season in 3 seasons last year. And so if you can get that kind of numbers out of him, somewhere around 15 home run, well, somewhere in the middling home run totals with a decent average, he's got good speed and defense to complement it. Next up, your real speed demon, Trey Turner. I'm realizing how much speed this offense has. Your shortstop, your starting shortstop. He had that injury, but that didn't really stop him. He hit 19 home runs like he did last year when he played in 162 games, or 2018 when he had played in 162 games. 2019 he played 40 less games, and hit 19 home runs, and had 35 stolen bags. So the man likes to steal bases, and he can hit for a fair bit of power. Not crazy, but a decent amount. And he's got really good bat skills. And so defensively, offensively, and on the base paths, he's a threat. And he is definitely one of the big stars of this offense. You also got Juan Soto. He doesn't really need much of an introduction. Rookie of the Year 2018, phenomenal 2019, where he had an on-base percentage of over 400 at 401, hit 282 with 34 home runs, 110 RBIs. Walks almost as much as he strikes out. Guy is the real deal. He is a 5-tool player, and he is exciting. And I think, you lost Bryce Harper, you lost Anthony Rendon. Well, you have yourself Juan Soto, who is a monster on the field. So huge, huge deal to have him. For your DH this season, since the NL doesn't have pitchers hitting this season, you got Howie Kendrick. I think this will be good for Kendrick. Kendrick's a good defender at second base, but with a guy who's had struggles with injury in the past, getting him a chance to rest more often, and just because he's also 36, that could do wonders for a guy's bat. And at the end of the day, he's at the end of his career. He's going to be signing 1-year contracts, hopefully with the Nationals until he retires. Yeah, because even though Kendrick spent a lot of time in a Dodger uniform and an Angel uniform, he was just so good with the Nationals. Like that he had his signature moment with the Nationals. You signed Starlin Castro to be your starting second baseman. Starlin Castro has been an interesting case. No real batting eye. Okay defensively, decent bat. He showed so much promise when he was on the Cubs, and the Cubs happened to just trade him at just the right time. He was decent with the Yankees in 2017. He hit 300 with only 16 home runs, but his past 2 years of the Marlins have been rough. That could also be because he's in a pitcher's ballpark. So hopefully, in a new atmosphere, you get to see that Starlin Castro that has so much that was had all that potential. And at the end of the day, Starlin Castro is still a good player, and so overall a decent bat in the lineup. You also signed Eric Thames from the Brewers. Eric Thames went over to Korea, had a monster time in Korea, just bashing home runs. 2018 and only 96 games, hit 16 home runs. In 2017, he hit 31. Last year, 25. The guy's got good power numbers, and even though he's older than most guys at this point in their fourth season, he's 33 this year. He's a power threat, and though his average won't be pretty, his home runs will be. So going next, you got Kurt Suzuki. Kurt Suzuki, historically one of the unluckiest catchers in the league. If you want to look up, players being unlucky or unlucky catchers, man has taken a lot of foul balls to the nuts.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. So he's not like a huge everyone knows him type player, but he's a bit consistent and he's better at the league, and so I'm happy he got his World Series ring. And overall, he's a good catcher still, and highly expect him to be highly effective again this year as the starting catcher. And I think projecting him to hit around 270 is perfectly fair. Last up, you got your big prospect, your number one prospect, Carter Kieboom. Last year he came up only 11 games, hit only 128. Definitely not what you're expecting from him. I'd expect better numbers now that Rendon's gone and getting a chance to start. So hopefully he performs because he is such a big prospect for you guys, and so that'll be remains to be seen obviously, but I highly expect him to perform significantly better. And I can't make too many big claims about a guy who only played 11 games. Going through rotation, Steven Strasburg, we've already talked about him. Breaking balls are just you know absolute monsters. He is a great pitcher. He is going to be a great pitcher for the next 7 years. I think he signed for the Nats, and there's not he can absolutely dominate lineups with the best of them.
Is he really the ace
And
of this team, though? That's my question.
I don't know if he's necessarily the ace. Maybe Max Scherzer. I don't think so. I highly expect Max Scherzer to be getting the opening day nod, but maybe because he's homegrown as opposed to. But still, I expect Scherzer to be in the number one slot when the Yankees come into Washington. Um. Anyway, as in second, man who needs no introduction, Max Scherzer. He is already Hall of Fame career. There is no question about it. He could say, "I don't feel like playing baseball anymore." He'd still be a Hall of Famer. Uh, you know, he got off that Tigers team, and then people really realized. People realized while he was on the Tigers towards the end of it, how good he was. But when he signed with the Nationals, like that's when people really realized just how insane he was.
He was stuck in
He's won,
Verlander's shadow.
yeah, and so he won his first Cy Young with the Tigers, and then ended up. And that's when people realized, obviously, but then he continued to perform that well, and so he was a seven-time All-Star. He's a World Series champion now. He's got 3 Cy Youngs, 3-time strikeout leader. He's approaching that 3,000 mark. I highly expect. There's one guy who I expect to, strike out 100 guys in the 60-game season. It would be him. Um, like just some of the stuff is just absolutely ridiculous. But oh yeah, and also tied for the MLB record with 250 strikeouts in 5 straight seasons. So absolute insane pitcher. There's nothing he can, start to decline after being hit. Like by decline, I don't mean like fall out entirely off the face of the earth, but like have an ERA over 3, and it'd still be amazing to watch. So definitely exciting guy to have. Patrick Corbin up next. You got him for the next 6 years, or the next 5 years, since he's already through year one. He was really good last year. 202 innings pitched, 3.25 ERA, 238 strikeouts. Guy's a very good pitcher, and uh, yeah, like this, the Nationals have a very threatening starting three, and he though he didn't his postseason numbers weren't crazy good. He did show up in the postseason. So he's got, really great stuff. He's known for the slider. Slider is his bread and butter, and he's just overall another excellent starting pitcher. Anibal Sanchez has had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. He's, had seasons where he looks like an ace and seasons where he has a 6.41 ERA. So, and last year he was pretty good. 166 innings, 3.85 ERA, nearly pitched a no hitter. I think through 6 or 7 innings, he pitched a no hitter against the Cardinals in the postseason. So, overall, one of the more consistent 4-hole starters, what you'd expect to see. And so, just another solid guy. The fifth spot's up for question between Eric Fetty and Austin Voth competing for it. I'd say Fetty's probably in the league because he had a better showing last year. Well, actually, Well, he had a longer showing, I should say. He didn't have the numbers on Voth were better. 43 innings, a 3.3 ERA, but only 9 games. Whereas Fetty had, pitched out of the bullpen. But honestly, you can go to either one of them because they both had kind of okay numbers. But yeah, that's my look out. But overall, the rotation top to bottom is very good. The fifth spot's obviously questionable. The fifth spot's always the questionable one on the team, so is what it is. Coming to the bullpen, this is definitely the big weakness on this roster. They did make a smart move in re-signing Daniel Hudson to a very team-friendly deal, 2 years, $11 million. He had his breakout season last year. Hopefully, he can keep doing that and share closing duties with Sean Doolittle. Sean Doolittle, excellent starting closing pitcher, had an awesome 2018 and 2017. Definitely took a step back in 2019. He pitched more innings, but he also had a 4.05 ERA. So hopefully you don't see that again. You can kind of expect to see him to come back to his usual form. Hopefully, you signed Will Harris, which was pretty funny. The guy who gave up the go-ahead home run is now on. It kind of reminds me of like reverse Joe Kelly in a way. Joe Kelly lost in the World Series to the Reds. Well, actually, did the exact same. Yeah, actually reminds me of Joe Kelly. He lost in the World Series to the Red Sox when he was on the Cardinals, and then signed with the Red Sox, and then after, reversed in the way that Red Sox. He won the World Series with the Red Sox against the Dodgers, and then he went and signed with the Dodgers. So have to wait and see what happens with him. But overall, he had an excellent season last year, really dominant, and so the pickup was smart. Even if he has one of his even if he has like a relatively rough season, his roughest seasons are pretty good by most standards. So smart pickup. The rest of the bullpen is questionable. You know, like most of it, Tanner Rainey, Wander Suero are decent, but not locked down. And so the rest of these guys are kind of fit into the role of good to decent to not so great. Like they're not the ideal bullpen. So that's about that for talking about the lineups. Going to the Juan Soto. He is your perennial MVP candidate. He is your next Bryce Harper. For a significantly cheaper cost, he was better than Bryce Harper last year. And yeah, the guy is just excellent fielding, excellent hitting, excellent base running. The guy can do it all, and he's fun to watch doing it. So, going next, Trey Turner. Trey Turner is also big rainmaker for this team. He's shown what he can do when he's healthy. He's so hopefully he could. It's a 60-game sprint, so I highly expect him to be healthy for the whole thing. He's one of the few speed demons in the league who actually can hit. So, he has, most guys who steal as many bags as him usually have batting averages in the low 200s. No, he's pushing 300 multiple times. And he's got some pop to his bat. Going next, Steve Strasburg. I'm happy you guys brought him back. Absolute World Series MVP. It was really, like, it was a tough call between him, Rendon, and Kendrick, but I think they made the right call giving him the World Series MVP. He is dominant, dominant. He is a lot of fun to watch. Highly expect another great year out of him. Going next, you can't talk about important players on a team and not talk about Max Scherzer because he is the Hall of Famer on this team. He is some guys have their best years, their youngest ages. This guy just continues to get better. He defies aging. Highly expect him to. It's obviously not going to happen this season because it's only 60 games, but next season, after this coming season, we'll 100% hitting the 3,000 strikeout club, and just like I said, just another plaque to hang on his Hall of Fame career. Hello, Sean Doolittle. He has been absolutely dominant when he's on, but he really struggled last year. You really want to see him perform better because you don't want to rely on a guy who just had his breakout season. This guy's had 2 really solid seasons under his belt as a closer. And so if you could have two closer quality guys in your bullpen, that is a huge boost. And so he hopefully, especially in a 60-game sprint, I think he does have the potential to carry a bullpen. And so those are the most important guys to look out for in your team. Talking about the lineup, gotta give it a B plus. They have some huge stars in Trey Turner and Juan Soto, and one guy who has the star potential in Victor Robles. But they're definitely, if they had Rendon, they'd be the A minus. But they don't have Rendon, and a lot of the guys like Starlin Castro and Carter Keyboom just aren't even close to his quality. And so the lineup overall is weaker, but it's still a good lineup. And I'm giving them the B plus because they have Juan Soto and Trey Turner who can absolutely carry an offense. Bullpen definitely the weakest part of this team. I'm hovering between a B minus and a C plus because I'm not quite sure. Because if they perform like they did last year, everyone else besides Daniel Hudson, it's definitely a C plus. If they perform better than last year, with the exception of Daniel Hudson, they are a B minus bullpen. And so I'm expecting them to perform better, so I'm going to go with the B minus. Rotation A, easy, not even a question. They have three ace quality pitchers at the top of their rotation, and they have they're definitely not in the worst spot for their fourth and fifth guys. So
Is an
easy
A
A
plus
around the
even
rotation.
possible on your scale?
I was gonna give an A plus to the Mets. You know what? Yeah, I'll give them the A plus in the rotation.
I was gonna say, come on, surely you
No,
can't have Steven Strasburg on your team and Max Scherzer and not get an A plus for your
no,
rotation.
yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, maybe I'm being a little too harsh in my gradings, but yeah, I think that's fair. I think the A plus is fair.
I mean,
So
listen, if you're telling me that they have three ace quality guys, two of them
this
are
is true. I
like,
guess I'm not even listening to my
if you
my own.
and if two of them are like pretty much surefire Hall of Famers, like barring Steven Strasburg getting an injury, I don't see how he doesn't eventually make the Hall of Fame. Then, in my book, that's an
He's
A
not
plus.
projections for it. So yeah, I think that's fair. It's like you go take like most pitchers in the league and put them in the fourth guy. It's like I could think of like a whole bunch of pitchers who are like quality pitchers who would not make that rotation. So, or who would be fourth or fifth guys in that rotation. So yeah, I think that's fair. And once again, postseason, you only need three. So
Only need three, and you got two lockdowns.
got two lockdowns and one guy who has lockdown potential. So
Alrighty.
so leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Um, Oh yes, also predictions how they're going to do. I think that they are the front runners for the NL East. I'd expect them to win the NL East, but like I said, it's going to be a race between them, the Mets, the Braves, and the Phillies. So that's that. Come check out our Discord. Come talk live real time. You leave a comment, it might take us a while to get back. You come into Discord, we can respond to you right away because I'm always on my computer. So yeah. Um. Uh.
He's struggling there.
Um. I feel like I'm missing something.
I
Hey,
mean,
where do we go next?
there you go. Tomorrow we go to the Jets, New York Jets, and then on Friday, Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yep. We need to. I need to record on top like back-to-back days. I think soon because I want to do the Yankees before their
When is opening day
season
for
opener.
them?
23rd.
Do you want to release the Yankees on the 23rd?
That would be the goal.
Well then you can just do the Phillies on the 22nd and then the Yankees on the 23rd.
Fair. Okay. All right. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day.